So it's the first week of January. How many of you have a new gym membership or a new crock pot you're going to make amazing meals with and save so much time and money? So, the beginning of January, we're always thinking about new goals, resolutions. We maybe buy things and think this gadget's going to save the day and this thing is going to do it and this app is going to change my life, right? So we have all these ideas, we have these grand ambitions, but there's something really important that we need to understand about our brain and how it works in order to really make our New Year's resolutions and our goals attainable and achievable, and that we can move forward and do it. So I want to share with you a couple of things today. And I want to start with a couple of basic things about our brain, how it is designed, how it is set up, and what's happening inside of there that needs to be channeled and understood and utilized in order to really stay with our goals. So I set a goal, I have several goals, and we'll see how I do. No, I'm going to do great. I'm going to do great, right? But one of my goals is to not have sugar, not eat any refined sugar this whole month. And I knew I had to keep my goal a little bit achievable and just say, yeah, for the month instead of for the whole year or never again. Okay, but I like pie and cookies and brownies. But I knew that for myself, I have a lot of joint pain lately, and I feel like there must be some inflammation problems. And I know that if I reduce sugar, cut it out for a month, maybe I'll see some changes, some improvement with inflammation in my body, and hopefully also adding in other goals that I have for exercise and eating healthy beyond just cutting out sugar. Um, I really hope to feel a difference and to have less pain in my life. I don't like chronic pain. Do you? No, probably not. So, what we need to understand about our brain is what is happening when we are driven towards a behavior or an activity that really is not serving us very well. And why do we keep doing it then? Why do I go and like keep buying candy bars when I'm at the checkout at this grocery store? Or going to check, the bakery and see what's on that cart from yesterday that's marked down and oh, it's got chocolate in it and it's going to be good. So I noticed how I was getting more and more impulsive with buying candy. Oh man, I went to the dollar store to get wrapping paper and I'm buying black licorice, which I love, and some other candies and things. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Ugh. I never feel good afterwards. And I know that sugar can cause a lot of inflammation problems in joints, and I don't want to have that problem anymore. Okay, so why do I do that? Why am I impulsively doing something that I know inside is not in my best interest? And I do it again and again. Why am I doing that? Why do we do it? So our brain has, I want to talk about two parts of our brain. Um, think about how there are many, many different systems, many different strategies and nuances and pathways and all kinds of amazing things that our brains can do. But I want to categorize two parts of our brain just to simplify everything as much as possible. Our higher brain, the prefrontal cortex, is where we do our thinking, our reasoning, our planning, when we can motivate or choose to not engage in something that we are wanting to change, right? So if there is a goal that I'm setting to not eat sugar, my prefrontal cortex, the thinking, reasoning, self-control is going to be happening because of this part of my brain being activated. And I'm going to regulate my emotions better. I'm going to make better choices and manage my behavior when this part of my brain is driving me and guiding my behavior and my choices. However, there's another part of the brain. The lower brain has many different facets, but there's a main part I want to talk about that is often referred to as the primitive brain or the survival brain. This is the part of the brain that has kind of three main instinctive behaviors. One of them is to avoid pain. Another one is to seek pleasure. And the third one is to conserve energy. So our lower brain, our survival brain, primitive brain, however we want to label it, is geared towards survival, taking care of the basics and making sure that we can continue to live and thrive. So avoiding pain would be not to touch something hot and burning so I don't hurt myself. Or if I'm handling knives, I'm cutting up, chopping up food for dinner. I'm going to be careful as I hold that knife because I want to avoid pain. So my survival center is trying to do a lot of really good things for me. And when you were born, the primitive part of your brain, it's called primitive because it formed first, more fully developed earlier than the thinking and reasoning part of your brain. That's the part that's still developing till you're in your mid 20s. And now I'm mid 40s. So I hope that I can utilize this part of my brain and make better choices and stick to my goal. I have a beautiful outcome that I'm going for. I would love to be free of joint pain. I would love to feel more flexible and more mobile and not grunt and groan every time I stand up or kneel down. Wouldn't that be great? And it's not just sugar, of course. There are other things I'm going to do, but sugar was one of my main goals. So I'm focusing on that today. My primitive brain says, oh, but sugar is so tasty. I get a lot of pleasure when I eat sugar. It sends off a dopamine release throughout my brain. My brain is awash in dopamine, and that dopamine says, reward. I have been rewarded. Every time I eat sugar, it's a reward. My brain wants to do it again and again and again. The thing is, when we allow our survival brain to be the one guiding our behavior, we're not going to make the best choices. We're going to do what feels great in the moment and not think about the consequences down the road. It feels wonderful to not clean my house and just sit on the couch. I don't do that very much. I don't sit on the couch much. I should do that more. But just any behavior that can kind of lead to an unpleasant result. So my children, when they're growing up, they, for some reason, hate to brush their teeth when they're little. They don't want to do it. And we keep reminding them, oh, but if you brush your teeth, then you can get all the germs off, and then your teeth don't fall out too soon. Or we don't have to go to the dentist and then have them drill in your teeth and put fillings. We have great reasons for you to brush your teeth. But for that immature brain, they're like, but I don't want to stop playing to go brush my teeth. I don't want to have to sit there scrubbing and jabbing inside of my mouth. Somehow that might feel threatening for some children. And so, or to shower or wash their hands, all these things. I'm like, but please, we're going to have a clean and sanitary place if we do these things. And they have to learn how to um, overcome the discomfort of stopping the fun thing to go shower or making sure they wash their hands so they don't jump out of the bathroom so fast. They have to actually stay there. They have to use water and soap. Oh, that's a big one to teach little kids sometimes. So there's always going to be this tension between what's the easier right now to what's really better down the road. It really will be better for me to take this break from sugar for 31 days. And today is January 6th. I'm doing really good so far. 100%. 5 out of 5. 6 out of 6 at the end of today. um, but I want you to understand that there will be this tension when you want to change a behavior, you want to change a habit. The longer your brain has been doing that behavior, the more solidified that behavior has become, the more expected your brain has come, that behavior has come to be to your brain. So your brain is going to expect it. It's going to look for opportunities for it. It's going to feel maybe some pain if it's not getting it. So what do we do about it? My name is Michelle Hawks, and I'm a certified life coach. And so here I'm sharing today a couple of questions to ask yourself when you have set your goal and you have that tension between following through or giving in and just eating all the sugar. Okay, so we all have different goals. I hope you have set some goals. Why not? It's funny, we can make fun of New Year's and say, well, bah humbug. We don't need to do New Year's resolutions, but why not? You just pick a date. It could be tomorrow. Do it, start tomorrow. But what I want to start with is looking at, first of all, what is the habit that we want to change? The habit is eating sugar. And and so when I'm feeling that craving, or when I'm going out to the store, like yesterday, I thought, wow, this is interesting. I'm in the grocery store and I'm realizing how much being here is a trigger. I'm realizing that, oh, on other days, I would just say, oh, that looks good. I'm going to grab that chocolate bar and throw it in my basket. Or I'm going to go past the bakery, see what's there. What's going to be on sale, discounted. I'm saving money, so it feels even more rewarding. I got it on a discount, but it's still not going to be the healthiest thing for me. So if my habit is eating sugar, I'm going to need to notice my triggers. And I noticed that yesterday, day 5, not very far into it, but that's good. My triggers are being at the grocery store. I never buy candy online, so that's not an issue. So my son and my daughter and I were on Walmart.com. We were looking for a certain size of clothes or something we couldn't find in the store, so we're on Walmart.com. No trigger. I had no desire, no thought, no impulse to buy sugar, to buy anything with sugar, to buy candy, add that into the order. I didn't, because I never do that. So there's no habit there. My brain's not defaulting to that behavior because it doesn't exist. But me walking around in the grocery store at the checkout counter, and they know this, those grocery store people, that they can put those candy bars right there and, oh, look, 2 for 1, nice. Look at one of those, mix and match. So that's had been a pattern and a habit. So my brain remembers it and associates me being in the store with buying sugar and eating it and getting that dopamine reward. Dopamine is not entirely bad, but dopamine makes you want to have more. Dopamine does not leave you satisfied. It wants to get rewarded again. So if I eat sugar one day, probably the next day I'm going to want more sugar. Or if I buy a bag of candy, I don't have very very good impulse control sometimes. And this is what leads to the next point. Why do I engage? Why do I engage in that desire or that opportunity to have sugar? Why do I do it? So for me, I noticed if I'm going to look at these 3 survival instincts, for me, it's seek pleasure. Yeah, because it's not painful to eat sugar or not eat sugar. It's not painful to not eat sugar. Like I'm not pining away unless I have a serious addiction. I'm not in pain right now because I'm not eating sugar. That's not what that is about, right? To stop that pain there before I eat the sugar. That could be for like a bigger addiction, but not for me at this point. So why do I engage? Because I want to seek pleasure. So as you're looking at your goal, you're wanting to replace a behavior with another behavior, something that you feel is healthier or better for you, or you're going to be happier or have a better outcome of some kind. Take a look at these questions. What is the habit that's already in place that I'm wanting to change? What are the triggers that cause me to be more instinctive or impulsive about doing that behavior? What are the triggers? And what might remind me of the thing I'm trying to forget about? Blinders on. There is no sugar in the world. Don't you dare drop off cookies at my porch. during this month. No, my kids would love it and they'll rub it in my face. But anyways, so think about what are your triggers so that you're prepared to handle them and not cave in. And then why do you engage in that behavior that you're wanting to change? Which of those three, and maybe it's a combination, which of these three survival techniques, tactics, instincts, whatever you want to call it, which of those three are connected or is connected to that unwanted behavior? So someone who's doing a lot of video gaming, yes, they're going to get a lot of pleasure because there's a lot of dopamine going on when someone is playing video games, but it also might be about um, avoiding pain. Maybe facing the real world is becoming painful, whereas the video game world is controllable to a degree. There's anticipation and expectation. You have an idea of what's going to happen, and it's just certain characters. There's not a whole lot of variety where you step out the door and the possibilities are endless of people you might come across, things that could happen. The weather might change, a tree might fall on your car. Like there's just so many things, thousands of possibilities, millions that could happen if you stepped outside your door and went into the real world. So there is a pain there of um, of something that could be unexpected, unanticipated, or something bad that you were imagining could happen and it does happen. That sounds painful. Your brain says, that doesn't sound good. That's not going to keep me safe. I better stay inside and stay on my video games where nothing can hurt me. So, video gaming can be uh, deeply detrimental when it's left unchecked. So, think about that. With your goal, why do you engage in the behavior that you want to change? Which of those three or combination is influencing your brain to want that undesirable behavior and to reach for it, look for it, scan for it, try to create it, make it happen? Your brain is very smart, it's very capable, and it is malleable. So even if you've been in a habit for a long time, yes, it might take longer and might be harder to overcome a habit that's been in place for a long time, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. Your brain is malleable. And with the right care, with the right steps, with the right precision in your decision making and being willing to fail and get back up again and not give up, you can change. You can make better choices. But we've got to turn off that survival brain a little bit and get the top brain, the higher brain, more in control and have the balance be in favor of thinking and logic and reason and self-control, self-denial, and being an agent for yourself, maintaining your agency. The power to choose is up here. Impulse behaviors or impulsive behaviors, habits, defaults, that's down here, survival brain. So we need to tip the scales in favor of the higher brain. And it takes time, but with careful, honest observation and exploration of your previous behavior, you are already winning. And you're so much more likely to win and to come out victorious because you've got to turn this part of your brain on. So another question is, what can I do instead that can help satisfy to some degree that survival instinct? So sometimes you just have to have flat out denial, right? When I was in the grocery store yesterday, I didn't just grab an apple and start eating an apple and have like healthy, beautiful sugar that's fresh from, that's, healthy in the apple. I didn't do that. I was shopping. I just had to kind of get in and out and just say, nope, not going anywhere near that bakery aisle. And I'm just gonna, blinders on as I go through the checkout and ignore all those candy bars, all that chocolate. Um, so I just did that, right? But when I'm at home, maybe I have more time, I have more opportunities, or if I'm visiting with someone, I don't know. I can find different ways to satisfy a desire for pleasure without having to use sugar. So at home, that's when I might eat fruit and eat something that's healthy and good for my body, but also kind of gives me a little of that sweet that I'm looking for. Or eating a full meal instead of just grazing, right? That's another good way. So I can look for that. Pleasure is also found in connection, in relationships. And that's where we can trade the dopamine desire and be satisfied with oxytocin, which is one of the love chemicals in our brain. When we spend time with our kids, our spouse, even with pets, we go out in nature, we feel wonder and awe at the beautiful day and the trees. And I mean, last month when the trees were all changing colors, it was so beautiful. And you can find that pleasure, find that enjoyment, and experience oxytocin with people instead of relying on dopamine, which is a personal thing, right? So I eat the sugar, I get dopamine. My brain produces it, secretes it. But when I have a relationship with someone, I'm experiencing oxytocin and I have that enjoyment and that pleasure as I cuddle with my kids or I read books with them. I spend time with my husband. We go out for a walk. We play not video games. We play card games. Um, we read books together. You know, all these beautiful, simple acts that build a connection and bring a relationship to the forefront and make that more important than sugar. That's pretty powerful. So we got to find a replacement. What will be a healthy replacement? So for me, my thought is whenever I do have that, um, not even a craving, but just an impulse, like I have that instinct that, like, where's the sugar? What I'm going to do instead, this is part of my plan, is to look for someone that I can have a moment of connection with and feel that satisfaction and that joy and that contentment. So if I'm alone, nobody's here with me, then who can I call? Who can I send a text to and check in on and see how they're doing? Um, that's kind of one of my plans. That's one of my plans I'm going to work on. So for me, I'm trying to not eat sugar. My trigger is at the store. Why do I engage? Because I'm seeking pleasure. So instead of pleasure with dopamine, which is very quick and fleeting, I'm going to look for connection with a loved one and experience oxytocin instead. So I also have to realize what are my other triggers, and there are other behaviors. So something else I was thinking about was, boy, when do I eat it? When do I seek it out? Why do I engage? I'm seeking pleasure, but also because I might be tired. I might be feeling run down, depleted. I might be feeling kind of depressed and stressed about things. And it's an uncomfortable state to be in. So my brain is looking for how can I feel better than I feel right now in a jiffy? Like it doesn't take long for that sugar to hit the brain and dopamine go, woohoo, right? Um, so what could I do instead? I'm noticing that if I were to get better sleep, if I go to bed at a better time, I'm not going to be as tired. My brain's not going to have that reason to be looking for sugar to give me a boost. I used to call it self-medicating with sugar because I was tired all the years of babies and toddlers and being up in the night multiple times. I have 6 kids over a span of 14 years, so it was a good it was a good, like, 17 years probably of toddlers and babies, young children who might wake up in the night. So I was getting pretty bad sleep for, like, 17 years. And let's not talk about pregnancy sleep, ugh. Um, and so when I make better choices about my physical well-being, so getting better sleep, going to bed earlier, making sure I'm getting a longer stretch. I'm not going to be as tired and then looking for sugar to keep me awake and give me another boost. And that might be the case for a lot of people who drink a lot of caffeine, caffeinated drinks. I don't drink caffeine, but of course, it's extremely prevalent. So if you're wanting to break a coffee habit or maybe Coke or Dr. Pepper, something like that, then consider that too. How is, what are you looking for it to cure? Is it, usually a lot of people, I think, for coffee, for caffeinated soda, they're looking for a boost because they're tired. But your body's also going to become more dependent on the stimulant and not produce the natural chemicals in your body to keep you awake naturally. So you'll become more and more depleted in what you're naturally producing for your energy and depending on the caffeine boost. And so that's where there's another issue. But also for me, um, so sleep was a big thing. I'm tired, so then I want sugar to give me a boost. So taking better care of my sleep habits can help prevent that need for sugar. My brain thinks I need it. And the last thing I want to say is that when you are able to carefully look through your choices, the behaviors that you're in, realize that the more time you spend in survival brain, you're being impulsive and you're defaulting and creating habits. And in this state, you are less and less in control of yourself. You're more and more in control of a substance or a behavior, a pattern. So when I was thinking about that, I thought, do I want sugar to have more control than I do of myself? It's not like I'm eating tons of sugar and I'm don't want to over exaggerate either, but this is just a change that I really feel like I need to make. So that's why I'm using this as an example and being vulnerable and putting it out there. But I want you to think about that too for yourself. Do you want to be the one in control, or do you want a substance, a habit, a pattern, a behavior to be in control of you? This is what needs to turn back on. So take that moment to really think about, process, ask these questions. Why am I doing it? Is it because I want to avoid pain? What's the pain that I want to avoid? Am I trying to seek pleasure? What kind of pleasure is it? Could I find pleasure in better ways? And maybe that's connection with other people. I don't know what your solution might be. It might be something else. And then, are you trying to conserve energy? You're avoiding something just because it's going to take energy to do it. Just like my kids, when they're like, I don't want to brush my teeth. I have to expend energy to do that. Little children want to conserve their energy for going crazy or running around the house and using your couch like a trampoline park. That's better use of energy for them than to go brush their teeth or clean their room, put things away. That's all threatening. They're going to die if they do that. That's what their brain thinks. So I hope this helps you to get a little bit of a framework. This is the secret behind goal achievement and like really following through with your New Year's resolutions. You can do it, but you've got to be smarter than the habit, smarter than the substance, the behavior, whatever it is. You've got to be smarter than it by turning this part of your brain on. And a lot of times, just simple things like exercise, deep breathing can help turn off any sort of threat response your nervous system might be going into, or the survival brain is very connected to your, fight, flight, freeze. So if you can calm that down with calm, deep breathing, with walking in nature, with other, there's so many regulating techniques. You could do yoga, you could do meditation, you could journal, you could sing, you can dance, you can turn on the radio and just dance your heart out. Get out some of that nervous energy or cortisol, adrenaline that you might be having, and calm it down, calm your body down. It'll calm your brain down. You'll be able to sharpen and focus and be more honest with yourself about what the habit is, why it's not the best for you, what would be better than that, what the triggers are, why are you going to it in the first place, and what can you replace it with so that you can be the one in control and have a better behavior, a better habit, a better pattern, that leads to a better, more desirable outcome. And so there are some ideas for you. I hope to hear from you. Like, what are you working on? Let's talk about it. Share in the comments what your goal is, what you're working on, and go through this process. I'd love to hear from you. What do you see? What do you see is connected to the past behavior you're wanting to change? The past habit that no longer serves you or you realize never really did. What is it connected to? Seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, conserving energy. Which one of those, or more than one? And be really honest with yourself and see what you could replace it with so that you have a fulfillment, you have satisfaction, but it's not from the old pattern. And you blaze the trails in your brain for a new one. It takes time. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to notice when you're being triggered. Right now, I am in the grocery store and I'm seeing the bakery. I see you, bakery, but I'll see you on February 1st instead. But I don't know. Maybe I'll take a longer break. We'll see. Um, but that's the thing. When you have an end point in your goal, you want to give yourself at least 30 days to change that behavior, change the pattern, change the story, the narrative, the expectation in your brain. Give yourself at least 30 days. And then, like, sugar is not entirely bad. I do want to enjoy some sweets sometimes. So February 1st doesn't mean I'm going to go just like gorge all the candy I can find. I might say, yeah, I can wait till February 8th. How about that? Or 9th or 10th. Wait, one of my kids has a birthday. So maybe we'll make something special there and just say, all right, special occasions, I'm going to have a moderate little piece and it's going to be fine. Anyways, so that's what I also want to leave you with, realizing that if it's not an entirely bad thing and you want to bring it back in small, reasonable amounts, then just continue with this process of saying to yourself and training yourself, this is something I want to enjoy in a small amount on a special occasion. It's not entirely bad. It's not ruining my life, but I can see that my life would be healthier with less of it, significantly less. And so then you can try that out and see if, okay, yeah, one time I had a little dessert on my son's birthday, early February, we're good. I'm ready to wait till the next birthday. Wait, that's not till May. But be reasonable with yourself, and then you will start to gauge and notice and decide, does it really feel good to bring this back in? I really don't need this. I really don't want it anymore at all. Let's just leave it out. That's so much better. I'll just do that. And so, be wise about it and think about, yeah, read yourself, listen to your cues, but also be the one in charge. Get your higher brain being the one who's really in control of making the decisions, and you don't just live by default. All right, intention is the pathway to true joy and freedom. You'll feel great. So good luck in your goals and your New Year's resolutions. Share in the chat what you've been doing. I'd love to see you. Come visit my website, michellecoxmindset.com. See what I'm offering. I offer a lot of different services, And I work with children with their mindset. I work with parents to support them in their relationship with their kids. I have a new offer now. I'm going to work with expectant mothers to help them develop powerful mindset so they can go into their childbirth experience feeling confident, calm, and prepared. So check it out. I'm happy to help in any way I can. So see you next week on Let's Talk.